So it was probably September, October of 2023 that Lathrop Lybrook, who I had been very close friends with for a very long time because she was the CEDU archive, Lathrop Lybrook texted me and she said, "Oh, are you coming to Survivors Prom?" And I said, "Oh, I heard about it. I read about it. It doesn't seem like it's for me. It seems like it's for kids that never went to fucking high school. I went to two proms, so I don't really need to go to a Survivors one." And Lathrop was like, "Well, because everyone knows, or she knew that I was Paris Hilton's big sister. I actually had a recovered memory where it wasn't just that I was in charge of her for a week. I had to run a pit restriction for her when she was at CEDU. Um, so since Lathrop knew that, she said, "Oh, a little bird told us that Paris Hilton is going to DJ Survivor's Prom. So, this is a chance for you to see her and talk to her again, right?" So I did everything I could. I got my older brother, who was a survivor, I got of RMA. I got him to buy the prom tickets because I didn't have money for it. I got my little brother to use his frequent flyer miles to get me round trip tickets. My now director was letting me use his apartment for the week that I was going to be in Los Angeles, and was also letting Lathrop and Jordan, who runs the Straight Outta BS podcast, he was going to let them stay at his apartment because he was going to be away filming, and he he knew how much CEDU affected me, because we've been friends since I was 21, and he honestly used to hear me scream in my sleep. So he knows how traumatic CEDU was for me, and so when I was looking for places to stay for Survivors Prom just online, he was like, "I don't feel comfortable with that. I'm not going to be in my apartment. You can stay at my place." And I was like, "Can I have friends stay with me?" And he was like, "If they're your friends and you trust them, then yes." So the whole thing is that I never identified as a survivor. That is a thing that they make you say to join what is called the survivor community. And it is a cult. The survivor community is absolutely a cult. Um, whew, uh, we are an unrecognized class of citizen, and nobody really knew about us until Paris Hilton was on YouTube saying the names of our schools. She said CEDU, Cascade, and all these places when her This Is Paris documentary that was on YouTube in the middle of COVID. I was not online for a good 5 years, and so I missed out, I guess, on all of you guys meeting and stuff like that. I was late to this game, and I'm very glad I was. Um, I was a part of Liam Chef's Surviving CEDU documentary over 15 years ago. He had put it out on YouTube. Me and Jackson had watched it. And I reached out to him and I said, "I have a very interesting story about being at CEDU because, first of all, my mother died after I was there for 1 month. And I had to attend her funeral and her hospital bed while I was on bans from my family, which meant that I could not look, touch, talk to them, speak to them. They didn't exist to me. So that was very traumatic. And then also that I returned as an alumni and and knew Paris Hilton. So Liam Chef interviewed me, and he interviewed a lot of other people to be in Surviving CEDU. Um, but I guess over time, because those clips on YouTube did so much for people, he kind of lost the track of, he was like, I was like, "Are we ever going to finish Surviving CEDU?" And he's like, "Well, the clips that we have online are doing so well." He just kind of, I don't know if we forgot about it or just, he was waiting for money to finance it to get a real movie. And he had also asked me to contact the publisher who owned the publishing rights to the song "Children One and All." Because he wanted me to sing that for the end credits of Surviving CEDU. So I didn't even know that he had died until, I'd come back online. Because I wasn't online for COVID. Um, so I got back online and I saw that, somebody that ran a podcast wanted somebody to talk about CEDU. And I have a couple of CEDU Facebook groups. Like, one of my CEDU Facebook groups is like 15 years old. So when Adam Egget was on the Joe Rogan Experience talking about when he figured out CEDU was a cult and it was because of Facebook, it was my fucking Facebook group that Adam Egget was talking about. So when I was on the Straight Outta BS podcast and I met Jordan, I heard about Spring Creek Lodge, and he told me about the things that I knew specifically were the same at CEDU. And that his school had only recently closed down. I was like, CEDU people have to help. Because I realized that because we were like the celebrity version, we were like the living model, or like the proof of concept that these schools could exist in the first place. And so we should be the ones to help stop it. Because frankly, the ones that went through a lot of the WASP schools are so damaged that they can't fucking speak out for themselves. Or that's what I thought, actually. I guess that's just what I thought. So I started to, I was like, well, I guess I'm going to start my own documentary after the first podcast I did with Jordan, because I was asking my friends to go on his podcast, and they just didn't want to. They didn't feel like connected with the survivor community. And, they just, nobody really would, go on his podcast. And so I was like, well, I wanted to help this cause. And so I was just like, I'm just going to Skype as many people and do as many interviews I can. And hopefully maybe someday give it to Egget and see if he can, make a movie out of it. Like, that's kind of actually what I was thinking. So the first person that I thought of was John L.V., because he was our physics teacher at CEDU, and I know guitar repair and guitar building because of John L.V. The first time that I was taught how to set up a guitar, I knew exactly what the fuck I was doing, because John L.V. was so good at teaching applied physics and conceptual physics that guitar repair and guitar building for me has always been totally understandable. So I've been friends with John L.V. my whole life. So when I wanted to start a documentary, I was like, John L.V., would you tell me how the fuck you ended up working at CEDU for a little while? And he was like, I would love to do that. And he's like, give me a couple months and I'll tell you about that. In that meantime, I asked Jamie Donahoe too, which is a staff that I went through many prep feeds together. He was kind of in my peer group. And he was the first staff interview I did. And it was so wonderful to see him as an adult. And I was kind enough to like not attack him, which is something that no other survivor has done before. And I understand why. CEDU was very, very different than the other schools. Very, very, very different. And it's controversial because the other schools don't get how different it was. We weren't physically harmed. We ate well. No staff ever put their fucking hands on me in a physical, way. Never. I was never restrained at CEDU. I was never locked in a room, ever, at CEDU. So, when we watched the program, I made reaction videos because of how different it was. Because I had already done staff interviews, and I didn't want the other staff that I still wanted to interview to run the fuck away thinking that I was now on that side. Thinking that everybody is just as bad as the people that ran WASP, because that's not what CEDU was. The only apology I've gotten in my life is from CEDU staff, telling me that they're sorry of everything that happened, which I'll get to in a second. So I did everything I could to change, to make call-in favors, whatever. So, and then I was going to start my documentary at Survivors Prom. When I bought the tickets and I finally got invited to the Survivors Prom group, I was groomed and love-bombed like you would not believe. I was told that to never bring up my documentary because it was too triggering for other people. I was told, basically I was not allowed to tell anybody about my documentary at all. Also, we had just signed something with 1111 that said that, we weren't allowed to film in the Hilton where the fucking Survivors Prom was, because Paris Hilton's crew was supposed to be there, so we weren't allowed to bring cameras. So, yeah, I was getting ready. I was, super excited to meet a bunch of people. And I kind of, I guess, freaked out. I told my dad, I was like, Dad, I'm letting you know everything's paid for already. I'm going to go to this thing called Survivors Prom in California. I'm going to meet all these people that feel just like me. And he called authorities over and over again. And he was like, he told them that I was suicidal, which was not true. But because I was freaking out and super triggered when the authorities came and they're like, it got out of hand. And, if I had just known how to handle that situation, it wouldn't have gotten like that. But I didn't know how to handle the situation. And honestly, I should have just, when the authorities were like, you can get arrested or go to the hospital to get your blood drawn, I should have said, I'll get arrested. So when I left video messages for Lathrop Liebrook and from the hospital, from the freaking ambulance and from the hospital bay, it was like, hey, Lathrop, I'm about to get fucking thrown in a psych ward probably. You're not going to have somewhere to just stay at Survivors Prom. And so she has made those videos viral to vilify me, to say that I was her stalker, to say that that I triggered her, all this shit, right? They took me to this hospital. They, after many hours of me wondering whether whether or not I was gonna make my flight home, because I had like under 12 hours until my flight was leaving for Survivors Prom. I also had tickets to see the Breeders and Belly play together in Los Angeles, and I missed that too. So I was thrown on a fucking bed by a football team of fucking men and shot with tranquilizers in both my thighs. I woke up 3 days later with a black and blue eye this big. They wouldn't give me my Ritalin. I couldn't read. I'm a huge Stephen King fan, and I couldn't read my new Stephen King books because they didn't make sense to me. I had to have my boyfriends bring me Stephen King books I'd read at least twice. And I only got through maybe the first chapter of The Running Man. The entire week I was at the hospital because I didn't have my medication, and they tried to give me antipsychotic drugs and stuff like that. It was the worst week of my entire life. It felt like my father had reinstitutionalized me against my will, just like when I was 14. The entire time, all I did was just think about, well, this is going to be very helpful for my fucking documentary. When I got out, I was so overwhelmed by the people that were trying to contact me saying, where were you? And then, that, like, I, was contacting Lathrop being like, hey, are you okay? And she was acting like me talking to her was causing her fucking trauma or whatever. And I was like, well, I thought that I was on my way to go meet my fucking family, and I didn't show up. I thought that maybe you were worried about me. Turns out, most people thought that was fucking Katie Mack. That for the last year and a half, almost, yeah, about a year and a half, I've gotten, I don't even know how many phone calls. I don't know how many of you think that hospital stay has something to do with Katie Mack. It doesn't. It has to do with my father. But my father and I, last time we had a fight, he told me, CEDU wasn't a cult. Right now, you're in a cult of little girls that thinks their shit doesn't stink. And they are so mad about getting set away that they made their own cult. And he's not wrong. He's definitely not wrong. Calling this shit the troubled parent industry is the most fucking juvenile shit I've heard in my fucking life, Hanneke. Making a prom and then setting the rules and deciding who gets to be in your surviving family and then having those be your winged monkeys forever is the most disgusting thing I've ever seen in my life. I didn't even know who the fuck Katie Mack was or how dangerous she was or whatever, but I knew after GC that I had been making a documentary about the survivor community cults. I've known that that's my documentary for a while. I cannot believe how long this has been going on. I honestly cannot believe how long this fucking shit has been going on. I mean, I honestly don't want to say other people's names because I know that they are still fucking afraid of you, Katie Mack, and it's just fucking ridiculous. I'm the only person that could say Katie Mack, Catherine McNamara, has started a survivor's cult and not have anything happen to me because you don't have a lawsuit against me. I don't have children. You know, like, my whole life knows about this documentary, and you. So, you know, I'm the only one that can fucking say anything. And you have been watching me. I sat here 5 months ago and made a video for my studio to premiere the fucking pack that my mentor made for me. He asked me to make him a reaction video. It got a lot of hits on Facebook where I posted it. And I also just posted it to my YouTube so that, you know, people could see it there. Usually, the views don't match YouTube and Facebook. I had almost as many views on YouTube as I did on my Facebook. And I was looking at my statistics, and it's like, all of a sudden, I can see how many women and men are watching this. And it's like 40% women, 60%, 70% women, 60% women. And I'm texting my mentor being like, Eve, how the fuck am I content for, I'm like, is it because I'm wearing a dress and female? Are people just watching this because I'm a girl? And he's like, I don't know, that's really weird. It was so good that Novation actually applauded the video on YouTube. And that was a huge accomplishment for me. So when I started actually uploading the videos that I had been holding out on putting up for a long time because I didn't realize that I was still in this cult until like a week ago. When I started uploading that shit and I looked at my statistics for my documentary YouTube channel, it's the same fucking statistics. I have 100% female viewers. They're all ages around 45, the ages are around different, but it's about 30 to 45, now it's to 55. But it's 100% females, 98% unsubscribed. And it's hysterical because all of a sudden, my life makes sense. And I just have to say thank you because it's gotten me, you know, a lot more work in making techno stuff. And, you know, it's just so funny that your hatred has opened so many doors for me musically. You can actually even see when I'm playing this pack, you see my phone light up. And that's Jordan calling me, telling me that he can't be a part of my documentary. Because I posted, maybe like earlier that day or the day before I made my video, I had posted all the people that were on my side to make my documentary. And he was calling me when I was preparing this pack for my mentor. He was calling me saying, oh, it's too much drama for me to be involved in your documentary. I can't be in your documentary. I'm not a part of your documentary. And I was like, Jordan, you gave me my documentary. I was on your podcast 3 times. I understood WASP because of you. For me to not say that you're a part of my documentary would be the most fucked up thing I could do to anybody. So no, Jordan, no, that's not happening. You are a part of my documentary. I don't care what those little girls say. He's like, nobody's telling me anything. Yes, they are, Jordan, because what the fuck? You don't want to be a part of my movie? That's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. So, you know, I've removed myself from every survivor group. I am not a fucking survivor. I am a singer, songwriter. I build guitars. I am sitting in my guitar repair shop. I make techno. I was a part of Surviving CEDU 15 years ago, and I knew Paris Hilton when I was little. I do not need to fucking prove myself to you anymore. And all I know is that as soon as I was on the Cult Vault, the amount of survivors that have called me saying that, like, oh my God, the war is over, it's insane. It's insane because so many fucking people are afraid of you, Katie Mack, and it's got to fucking end. I do not care what is happening. If you're still fucking hurting people, if you still think that you can fucking hurt people, stop it. Everybody knows about you. I was on the Cult Vault and I was like, do not tag Unsilenced, do not tag fucking Breaking Code Silence, don't tag anything. And she was like, she's active on Reddit. I'm like, well, when you hear, as soon as our episode airs, you're going to hear people talking shit about me. That's the cult I'm fighting. Those are the people that are attacking me and making so that I can't make a documentary and have fucking pulled me into their world for the last year. Those are the people. So when you guys fucking so obviously showed who you were, it was hysterical. Everyone's like, oh my God, there's all this shit talking about you on Reddit. I'm like, oh really? Because let me see what it is. And I was like, I cannot wait for other people to see this. I can't wait because you guys are ridiculous. You make it so nobody can relate to us. You make it so that, like, you live on fucking Facebook and, like, have all these little secret societies that are all fucking cults. You've been grooming each other of how to fucking deal with each other, and it's gotta stop. So, this is iCarly. This is iCarly. I have so much iCarly fucking crap everywhere. I have my own iCarly webcam that's unopened. So, yeah, my show is iCarly. If you're a survivor and you want to fucking, do anything, make a fucking name and you can come on. I will put it on my channel. I want us to develop a little, like, web series that's just like iCarly, and we will be singing this song. I know Katie has told you what to think of me. Isn't she wonderful? Lawsuits, trolling, and this is all done in the name of breaking code silence. It's all for real. I'm telling you just how I feel. So wake up your inner Barbie bitch cult. It's your time to leave. There's no chance unless you make one. And it's time to see the clear pattern of narcissistic behavior. Some things are clear to see, so I've got your back and leave Katie Mack to me. Leave Katie Mack to me. Let Katie Mack hate me. Leave Katie Mack to me.